Parshat Vayikra. I'll try to continue from last time. If his offering is an ascent offering from the herd, Rebecca opened, for my thoughts are not your thoughts, nor are my ways, nor are your ways my ways. It is written for Machshavasai. My thoughts are not, without a vav, deficiently. Come and see, the thought of the Blessed Holy One is the highest head of all. From that thought spread ways and paths, so that the holy name may be manifested and established fittingly. For that thought issues a flow for the Garden of Eden, watering all. From that thought comes into being written in oral Torah. By that thought exist those above and those below. The thought of a human being is head of all. From that thought spread ways and paths, perverting his ways in this world and the world that is coming. From that thought issues filth of the evil impulse, harming him and everyone. From that thought come into being transgressions, iniquities and premeditated sins, idolatry, fornication, and bloodshed. Thus, for my thoughts are not your thoughts. Therefore, first of all is written, if his offspring is an ascent offering, mean habakar, from the herd, from the herd and not the herd. And what is it? A bull from the herd, which is male. Rabbi Yitzhak said, from the herd, unspecified. Then it goes on to explain an unblemished male, not a female. For male is recognized above and a female is recognized below. Similarly, from the flock, from the sheep or from the goats, from an ascent offering, whatever is brought as an ascent offering is entirely male and not female. For an ascent offering ascends upon the heart, above the heart. Surely, and it is known what stands above the heart. Thus it ascends above, and all are male. Therefore the verse opens first with the ascent offering rather than any other offering. This is thought, head of all. Rabbi Yitzhak reads the verse somewhat differently. Note, the herd means any of the herd, which is then limited by the following phrase, an unblemished male. The male corresponds to chachma, or inspiration, or the entire male configuration from chachma through yesod, whereas the female corresponds to lower realm, the shekhinah, the bottommost sphera. All ascent offerings, including the one mentioned, must be male. Rabbi Shimon's statement that the ascent offering is due only a hir chorale for sinful imaginings of the heart is understood as implying that such an offering ascends al halav, above the heart, namely above Shekhinah, reaching chachma or the entire male configuration, who stand above the heart. Thereby the impure human thought is rectified and realigned with divine thought. Vayikra 1:10 reads in full, if his offering is from the flock or from the goat, for an ascent offering, an unblemished male he shall offer. Rabbi Acha was on the road, accompanied by Rabbi Yehuda. While they were going, Rabbi Yehuda said, as for what we have learned, Virgin Israel, who is blessed by 7 and is called Bathsheba, the daughter of 7. Bathsheba, daughter of 7, as we have established in many places, and a virgin inherits 7 blessings. Look at what is written, and you, O son of man, raise a lament for a virgin of Israel, which is surely uttered for her, for assembly of Israel, and this is most difficult of all. Fallen, not to rise again, is virgin Israel. Now that which all the companions have said concerning this statement is fine, but if the passage had been spoken by way of consolation, he would agree. Yet here lamentation and dirge are uttered, as demonstrated by the verse. He replied, certainly so. This matter troubled me greatly, and I came before Rabbi Shimon with a darkened face. He said to me, from the look on your face, your heart is revealed. I said to him, surely, for my heart and my face are equivalent. He said to me, utter your word. I said, it is written, fallen not to rise again is virgin Israel. One who is angry with his wife and she leaves him, she will never return. If so, woe to the children who have been cast out with her. He said to me, are you not satisfied with all the companion have said? I said, render the words compassionate, but it does not correspond. He said, whatever companions say is fine and fitting, but woe to the generation, when shepherds are nowhere to be found and the flock wanders, not knowing whether to go to the right or to the left. Surely this verse needs to be known, and all is revealed to those who see. Come and see. In all the exiles suffered by Israel, he set a time and termination. And in all of them, Israel turned back to the Blessed Holy One, and Virgin Israel returned to her place at the time decreed. Yet now, in this last exile, it is not so. For she has not returned as on the other occasions, as demonstrated by the verse. For it is written, fallen, not to rise again, is Virgin Israel. It is not written, fallen, and I will not raise Virgin Israel. This may be compared to a king who became angry with the Matrona, the maiden, and cast her out of this palace for a certain time. When that time arrived, the Matrona immediately returned and came before the king. And so it happened once, twice, and thrice. Finally, she went far away from the king's palace and was cast out for a distant time. He said, this time is not like the others, that she would come before me. Rather, I myself will go with my retinue to woo her. When he reached her and saw her lying on the ground, who has seen the glory of the Matrona at that time, and the king pleading to her, eventually he grasped her in his hands and raised her and brought her to his palace, swearing to her that he would never part from her or be distant. Similarly, with the Blessed Holy One, all those times when the assembly of Israel was in exile, when the time arrived, she returned and came before the king. And now in this exile it is not so. Rather, the Blessed Holy One will grasp her hand and raise her and reconcile with her and return her to her palace. Come and see that it is so, for it is written, fallen not to rise again as in other times, but I myself will raise her. I, God, will raise her booth. I will raise the fallen booth of David, Virgin Israel, the fallen, as is written, fallen not to rise again. This is the glory of Virgin Israel and her praise. This I learned at that time. Rabbi Huda said, you have surely spoken to my heart, and now it is tranquil. This is lucidity of the word, and it accords with the word that I recently gained. Rabbi Yossi said, the Blessed Holy One will one day proclaim over assembly of Israel, shake off the dust, arise, sit enthroned, O Jerusalem. Like someone grasping his friend's hand and saying, shaking yourself free and rise. So will the Blessed Holy One grasp her and say, shake yourself free and rise. A note on fallen, not to rise again. Shekhinah, known as Virgin Israel, who has fallen, will not rise again on her own, as at the end of the previous exiles. Rather, the Blessed Holy One himself will raise her. Similarly, in the later verse in Amos, she is pictured as the fallen booth of David, which the Blessed Holy One will raise. This parable appears with slight variation in Moses de Leon. Abraham said to him, happy are those members of the royal palace who open with this expression. As is written, arise, shine, for your light has come. See, the king is surely here. Then is the glory and joy of all, when the king reconciles with her. It is written, Bathsheba came to the king in his chamber. Similarly, all those times she came to the king and stood before him, as is written. She came before the king and stood before the king, but this time not so. Rather, the king comes to her to reconcile with her. As is written, see, your king is coming to you. Precisely not you to him, is coming to you to mollify you, is coming to you to raise you, is coming to you to restore you completely, is coming to you to bring you into his palace and unite with you eternally. As is said, I will betroth you to myself with faithfulness, I will betroth you forever. As they were walking, they encountered Rabbi Abba. They said, here comes the master of wisdom. Let us welcome Shekhinah. When they approached him, he slid off his strapped Questorian settle. Descending alongside him, he opened, saying, the voice of the shofar was growing stronger and stronger. The voice of the shofar, here are books of the ancients differ, though all harmonize on one element. The voice of the shofar two, voice one, the shofar two. Examining precisely, it is not written the shofar grew stronger, but rather the voice of the shofar, a voice issuing from the shofar. It is surely called shofar, as is written, a great shofar will be blown. This is a great shofar by which slaves go forth to eternal freedom, as we have established. Or examining precisely, all is one. For it is written, the voice of the shofar, a voice called shofar. And how do we know that it is called a voice, as is written, a mighty voice, unceasing? This voice is called shofar. So it is written, the voice of the shofar. Was going, where was it going? Now, if you say to Mount Sinai, to Israel, then it should read, was descending. However, Torah issues from here. And from this place, totality of all others was given. And when matters are contemplated, all is one. Therefore, the first tablets were engraved from this place. This is mystery of the matter written. Cherus, charut, engraved upon the tablets. Do not read charut, engraved, but rather cherus, freedom. Real freedom, a place on which all freedom depends. Come and see, you cannot find a single word in the Torah over which the companions differ, one saying this and the other that, which does not proceed entirely to one place, gathering into one spring, as is written was going, corresponding to what is said. All the streams go to the sea, yet the sea is not full, and it is written all goes to one place. The Hazek Meod, stronger and stronger, as we learned, a vessel, a mazik, Machazik, holding 40 saws. Stronger and stronger, you cannot find a single word in the Torah that is weak or broken. Rather, when you contemplate and know it, you will find it as strong as a hammer smashing rocks. And if it is weak, this comes from you, as we have established, for it is written, for it is not an empty word. It came from you, thus it is written, stronger and stronger. Moses would speak, and God would answer him with a voice. In this place there contains supernal matters. As we have established, God would answer him with the voice of Moses, a voice joined by Moses. Here one should contemplate, for it is just the opposite. As is written, God spoke, yet here is written, Moses would speak. Well, some say it is because of what is written. They said to Moses, speak you with us, that we may hear, and let not God speak with us. Thus Moses would speak, and God would answer him with a voice, for no word of Torah derived from Moses' mouth alone. This corresponds to what we have established. The curses in the repetition of Torah were uttered by Moses, mipi atzmai, with his own mouth. We have not learned by himself, but rather with his own mouth. The others were uttered from the mouth of power, whereas these were uttered with his own mouth, with the mouth of the voice that he joined, which is called so. This is fine. In the book of Agada, of the school of Rav, they say that although the Torah was uttered by the mouth of power, all of it was uttered by Moses' own mouth, namely what? For example, the curses in the repetition of Torah, which were subsequently included in power, as is written, Moses would speak, and God, Elohim, would answer him with a voice. Moses would speak, voice of Moses, and Elohim would answer him with a voice, Gvura, or acknowledge that voice, as is written, Elohim would answer him with a voice, with that voice of Moses. Now he who has opened with the words of Torah, let us acknowledge him. They said, let us sit. And he who opened, let him open further. They sat down. Rabbi Abba opened, saying, if the daughter of a priest became a widow and divorced, having no seed, and she returns to her father's house, as in her youth, of her father's bread she may eat, and no stranger shall eat of it. Happy is the share of Israel above all the other nations, for when the Blessed Holy One created the world, he created it solely for the sake of Israel, so that they would receive the Torah on Mount Sinai and become completely pure and righteous before him. Come and see. When this world was consummated by Israel, corresponding to the pattern above, and that tree was set in the earth, with its crown reaching to heaven, the Blessed Holy One desired to draw down a holy soul from above to below, so that one would be united and linked with the other. As is written, God Elohim formed the human dust from the soil, and blew into his nostrils the breath of life, so that the world would be interlinked and complete as above, and he would perfect himself accordingly. Therefore he created him male and female to be complete. When is a human being called complete, corresponding to the supernal pattern? When he clings to his mate and desire, as above, becoming whole in unity and joy, and there issues from him and his female a son and daughter. Then he is a complete human being, corresponding to the pattern above, becoming complete below, like the supernal holy name, and then the supernal holy name is proclaimed over him. But if a person does not want to complete the holy name below, it would be better for him to have never been born, for he has no share in the world in the holy name. And when his soul leaves him she is not joined to it at all, since he diminished the image of his Lord, until his soul is linked and fully restored, as is said, if the daughter of the priest becomes a widow or divorced, having no seed. End of reading.